Hi folks, now we're going to review the last three problems in the Novice workbook 7, 8, and 9. So let's go there to our worksheet and take a look at those. Here's problem 7. Problem 7 is about understanding and being able to use the logic statements in Excel, which are very powerful and very useful often, in particular for converting data and making some transformation of a data item into something else. For example, let's say that you want to take income. You don't need the specific value of income of an individual, but you'd like to put them into a category. So you can create categories and examine the value of the income of an individual and put them into category 1, 2, or 3. So let's see how we do that. So we've got a problem here where we've got an investor that is making a decision to either hold their investment position or to sell gold and buy S&P index. And the decision-making policy for that is shown here. If the value of gold ever goes over 1,261 per ounce, or, and that's an important or, a Boolean or that we're going to be using there, for Boolean logic, the S&P index is below 1895, then she sells gold and buys S&P index. Otherwise, you hold your position. So the condition that we're looking for is if you've got a value, the input value is greater than 1261, or the level of S&P index, that was for gold, index is less than 1895, then you sell gold. Under the current circumstances, 1233 is not greater than 1261, and 1896 is not less than 1895. So we should be holding our position. So here's our formula that we'll be using. It's an if statement, and the first part of the if statement is an or. The or is the condition that's going to be either true or false. An or is true if either of the elements, we could have many in here, are true. So if 2018 is greater than F18, in other words, D18 is greater than F18, then this condition is true. Or if D19 is less than F19, if this is less than this, then the condition is also true. So that's the trigger. That's the condition we're looking at. And then we either do this, if this is true, we do the first thing in the argument between this comma and this comma, or we do this. And this is simply a message of what to do, either sell or hold. Let's change one of these values in here and see how this works. If I change this value to 1270, what we get is a sell position. Why? Well, because the price of gold is greater than 261. Let's change it back. Let's make this less than 1895. Make it 1894. And the same thing happens. We sell our gold and we buy S&P index futures. These logical statements can become very complex. This is a relatively simple one, but as I said, they can be very useful to you. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use a VLOOKUP. These are pretty simple sort of situations, but the VLOOKUP is a way of converting a value into something else. So my value is the grade an individual has received, and I want to return a grade level. The way I do that is I set up a table. The VLOOKUP is taking a value, D33, which is the value right next to it. This one would take D34. This one would take D35, etc. Go over the table, look, and return look in the table G33H40. There's the table that we're looking at, and return what's in the second column of the table. These tables have to be in ascending fashion. If this was a alphabetic table, it would have to be A to Z. Okay. So let's see how this exchange is performed. 0 to 35 is going to give us an F. So this value, all the way up to, but not including this value, is going to give us an F. At 36 to 49 is going to give us a D. So what we look for is we take this 85 over here, look for it. 85 is exactly at A minus. It returns an A minus. 35 is slightly below or slightly below 36, and so it returns an F. Let's change, let's say that I misgraded Mary. Let's change it to 38 and see if that makes a difference. Yes, it does. She goes from an F to a D. Why? Because 38 is greater than 36. It's between the range 36 to 49. I've outlined the range over here. Let's go back. Again, lookup tables are extremely important in all kinds of clerical and even numerical work in data analysis. Now, finally, the thing we're going to do now is take a look at some data. We have some data here. We have 30 shoppers, and we're looking at the page views that they have. And we're going to use the data analysis capabilities of Excel to do that. Here's our data analysis tool. Should have turned this on from before. Here is the menu system that's available. What I'd like to do is descriptive statistics. I hit OK. It says, all right, where's the data that you want? Here's the data that I want. And I'm including the title, so I'm going to put a tick mark there. It's in a column, and I want to put it to an output area. And let's say my output area is going to be here. I've got to be careful because I just lost my data. This can happen very easily if you're not careful. I want to put that back. I want to tell it that I want to be in this particular slot. That's where I want to start the copying of the data. I want summary statistics. I don't know why this isn't always checked. The reason you're doing this is because you want summary statistics, but you got to check that. And there it is, the same as what we see over here. In B, we are, this is B actually, so sorry about that. What we're doing is we're creating a frequency distribution, and we also want to create this graph. So create a tabular histogram or frequency distribution. Those are synonymous with chart output for the sample data. So let's go back to data analysis. Let's go to, let's find a way of creating our chart output. Or we're going to go to histogram. That's where you'll locate that. Chart output, what's the input? Here's the data that we want analyzed. What are the bins? The bins have to be specified. I specified them as 1 through 12. Actually, I've now lost my data. Sorry about that. Go through. Here's my data. Here's my bins. I've captured the title here. Why? Because I put labels in the top of each one of these. And so I want to make sure that it knows there's a label. It says shopper here. I put a location of where I want this thing to go. Let's say I want it to go here. Hit OK. And then I also say I want the chart output. Hit OK. And there's my data and my chart returning the frequency distribution for shoppers who had a one-page view. There were 3 shoppers who had 4-page views. There were 10 shoppers that had 2-page views, and then we converted that into a graph. Finally, I ask you to simply use the Excel functions. I'll let you do that. Calculate an average, calculate a mean from the data, and of course, what it does is it looks at this area over here where page views are. Don't capture the title because it doesn't like to eat text, those functions. And so here are all of the things that we generated before. Take a look at those individually. We'll be playing with these a lot so that you can determine these things by hand also. All right, that's the end of our examination of the Module 1 problem solutions.